guys are ridiculous. These guys.
And we are back with another episode of From the Raptor. Sam and I are here recording on Thursday, November 18th, the day after the Celtics lost to the Atlanta Hawks, and we'll start there. I was kind of baffled as to the performance because, obviously Tatum played as well as he did for the first time this season. We'll talk about that too. And yet the offense still looked horrendous. So I was just very frustrated the whole game.
Yeah, yesterday was one of the most, or maybe the most frustrating game of the season because, one, I don't think Atlanta's that much better than the Celtics are, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not this season. Two, Trae Young didn't play very well for his standards. He still had a double-double. Three, Herter and Bogdanovich, who were both questionable, went off. Reddish, who had been horrible going into the game last night, had went off. And, I mean, it's a game where you just couldn't put it together. So the Celtics would all of a sudden start making shots and leave the door wide open on the other end, or they would get 5 stops in a row and then not be able to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that listen to this regularly, I very rarely will say this, but the officials were not good.
Yeah, Sam's not a big blaming the refs guy.
I do not believe in blaming the refs, but yesterday they were not good.
They were inconsistent is the issue. And I know that's your main issue. Yeah, that's your main issue with the refs usually, is when they're inconsistent. And it was a different kind of frustration, in my opinion, for the Celtics last night. When you guys are hearing this, actually, it'll still be last night. This will go out this afternoon. It was a different kind of frustration because throughout the season, the Celtics have been a frustrating team to watch, but you kind of knew what the issue was, and it was one thing, and they just had to fix it, blah, blah, blah. It's one thing every game. Last night, it just seemed like they were crumbling. Like you said, like they play good defense, but then the offense wasn't there. They played decent offense for a couple possessions, and the defense wasn't there. It was just a very frustrating all-around game because the Celtics had all the pieces to do it, but they just didn't, put it together. And like most games when you're watching the Celtics and it's frustrating, it's, okay, I guess they're just not on offensively tonight. They're just not making shots, and that's been the issue for most of the season. Jason Tatum, 34 points, 12 of 22 from the field, 6 of whatever from 3. He looked great for the first time this season, and the offense just couldn't put together a consistent stretch. And I don't know where the Celtics go from here offensively other than, waiting for Jaylen Brown to come back and praying that fixes it, right?
Well, it's funny, isn't it, how it worked out yesterday? Like, okay, Tatum finally plays well, and then no one else does. I wouldn't say no one else. I think Josh Richardson was really good yesterday.
Shout out my man Grant. What?
And Grant was also good.
Phenomenal. Grant was phenomenal.
Grant was great in his role. The difference between him and Josh, Grant goes without saying. To be honest with you, I thought Grant was fantastic. One message I sent to the Airr space yesterday was that Grant was playing well. But Richardson, what stood out to me is he was able to create for himself. He was getting to his spots, hitting pull-ups, made a 3, missed a couple big ones. Yeah. Schroeder came back down to earth. Marcus Smart was all right. Marcus Smart, by the way, dishing the ball out now. Lots of assists recently. But, all right, so the offense is a massive problem. The biggest problem to me is it's mind-boggling. Why are you still shooting threes? You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least
not the volume.
I don't want you to turn into Ben Simmons. I just want you to not take 43s.
I agree. I agree. I think at the start of this, at the start of the season, it was a lot worse. And I think they've toned it back since then because they were taking a horrendous amount of threes at the start of the season. Right now, they're taking around 36.5 a night. So it has gotten better. They're still around 12th in the league. But for the percentage they're shooting, that's not okay. I think they're bottom 6 in the league in 3-point percentage, bottom 5 in the league.
Yeah, there's no shame in taking mid-range shots.
No, they're shooting 32.3% from 3 this season. And the only teams shooting worse are the Pistons, the Thunder, the Nuggets, weirdly enough, and the Rockets. So you're not exactly in good company there.
Yeah, but teams play basketball for years and years without having to chuck threes every possession.
And I think this is why you're liking Josh Richardson, because he doesn't just chuck.
No, I like him. Schroeder does it too. There's a lot of guys. Horford has even been good from the mid-range when he's been, able to take them. I mean, even Marcus Smart, when Marcus Smart shoots in like the little free throw key there in the bubble behind the free throw line, it seems like he never misses. It's very simple. Just you don't have to take threes. I don't want you to not take threes at all, but I mean, Atlanta's pulling away in the game. They just keep chucking, trying to get one to stop momentum.
I agree with you. It's frustrating when you have guys shooting as poorly as they did last night. And I will say, it was a lot of role players who didn't shoot well from three last night. Tatum, for the first time ever, had it going. Him and Grant Williams were the only players to make more than 1 3 that night. Like Smart 0 for 4, Horford 1 for 4, Schroeder 1 for 4, Richardson 1 for 4, Langford 0 for 1, Nesmith 0 for 2, Pritchard 0 for 2. There's nothing you're going to do with that. And those last two guys, Nesmith and Pritchard, I hate to break it to you guys. For all those people clamoring for them to be in the lineup because they're going to fix the shooting problem, they suck this season. And I love Nesmith and Pritchard, but they have no business getting minutes if they're shooting this terribly. And I understand, we got to get them in a rhythm. The Celtics can't afford to get them in the rhythm. They don't have shooters to cover them when they miss. They need people in the lineup who can shoot the ball. And right now, that is Grant Williams and Romeo Langford. Even though Langford shot 0 for 1, those are the two guys who are making 3-point shots this season, with now Al Horford coming into the mix as he finds a shot. Other than that, they don't have any actual shooters on this team. Schroeder can get hot. Richardson can get hot, but they're not shooters. They're not shooting like good 3-point shooters. Udoka doesn't have not the bandwidth, the ability to experiment, or not even experiment, because these guys can be good 3-point shooters, but he can't just throw them in the lineup because the offense has been that bad that the Celtics will just lose because they're missing. And that's just how it is this season, which sucks. But
you just need to change the way you play offense. I mean, 5 years ago, you were running curl plays for Avery Bradley so he could shoot the mid-range. Just do that. I'm not joking. Like, literally do it.
I know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't love the mid-range as much. I agree it can be effective.
Well, you're a stats guy. And I understand it. I understand why, the analytics say you shouldn't, because it's a higher risk shot for no extra reward, and you could just go to the paint, or if you're going to shoot, you should shoot a 3. Yeah, fine. But you can't shoot threes. You're showing everyone you can't do it.
Yeah.
So let your select guys shoot them. Shoot them in select situations, which should very rarely be early in the shot clock, which they did a lot yesterday, it seemed like. And just get quality looks. I don't even think they're getting bad looks from 3. They're just not making them. But them not making these shots is becoming a pattern. It's happening every game. And
I brought up the stat.
Udoka doesn't care. He's not overreacting to it, is what I should say. It's not that he doesn't care. Yeah. He thinks it's going to level out.
It should.
I don't know.
I mean, realistically, it should, but right now
I
it's
agree.
not.
I think that's why it's so frustrating, and why I think a lot of people overreact when the Celtics lose. Like, I'm not happy with yesterday's game. Like, I think that was a winnable game. I think everyone, including myself, is so frustrated because they are getting good looks and they're just not making them. And like we discussed, they're getting these stops and then they can't put the ball in the basket.
I mean, Sam, I've read you this stat. I think every show for the last 2 weeks, Celtics get, I think, around 18 wide open threes a game, and they're shooting like 31% on those shots. That's just not like they're getting good looks, like you said. They're just not making them, which is, like I said, why Pritchard and Nesmith can't play, because if they're not making shots, you can't be in the lineup unless you do other things. And that's why you see Richardson. That's why you see Schroeder. That's why you see Grant and Romeo get minutes over these two young guys. Schroeder can drive to the hoop and handle the ball better than Pritchard can at this point. So you need to prioritize him if Pritchard is making threes. Richardson can drive to the hoop, play defense, and is a veteran presence more so than Aaron Nesmith is. So unless Aaron Nesmith is making threes consistently, you can't play Aaron Nesmith. And Grant Williams and Romeo Langford get playing time over Nesmith and Pritchard because they make their threes. And that's what you need. You need that so desperately on the Celtics team that you just can't afford to give Nesmith and Pritchard minutes. And all I see on Twitter is, Ime Udoka refuses to play these, because they're not making shots. They're like, these were the 2 best 3-point shooters on the Celtics last season. But last season was last season, and this season is this season. And if they're shooting below 30% from 3 and don't bring you much else on the floor, especially if it's not much else that other people can't bring you themselves, they can't play. And it sucks, but they can't play unless they're hitting shots for those two guys specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big advocate of it's tough to get hot when you aren't getting consistent minutes. It goes both ways, though. It's tough to give consistent minutes when the guys can't do anything for you. I don't know what the solution is. I don't really even know how the G League system works in terms of who can do it, but I think
they can.
You need to send those guys down to just give them some run, because I think they benefit from getting run. I understand the notion that they're not really at G League level either. They're kind of in between. But I mean,
they're
you gotta
NBA
give
level, but they're just not hitting shots right now, and you can't
need
give them
to give them some confidence. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
I agree.
Send him down. I don't care. Send him down.
Mm-hmm.
Give it, even if it's just 1 or 2 games, send him down. This has been the time for these guys to prove themselves with Brown out, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they just like when Richardson's out too. You see Neesmith get his chance and he shoots 1 of 5 from 3. Like they're just not capitalizing on their opportunities, which would get them more minutes. Like Grant Williams is an example we bring up every night. Grant's never like not a consistent starter.
17 points last
18.
night. 18 points.
18 points on 6 of 12 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3. He's not an every night starter, but when he does start, he has confidence. He shoots his shots without hesitation, and he makes a good percentage of them. And that's what you need to do. Sam, Grant Williams right now, if he hits one more free throw, he's 50, 40, 90.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. He's playing so well. And back to your idea of, prioritizing the mid-range shot. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, I'm not saying prioritize. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
Take it instead of threes once in a while.
I know what you mean. My point is I was going to make, instead of even doing that, I just think they should be driving more. Right. And they already drive a lot. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th in the league in drives per game. In shots off drives, they're top 10, but they still only drive 51, 0.8 times a game. And stats are stats, but whatever. The on court or the eye test on the court can tell you that they should drive more. The number 1 team in the league for driving the ball is the Oklahoma City Thunder, weirdly enough, probably because they don't have guys that can hit shots. Right. And the reason they're so bad, and they're not even bad this year, which is the funny part. I think they're like 6-8, which isn't good. But for the Thunder, that's pretty damn good. Would you agree? Like for that roster.
Yeah. Thunder haven't been too bad, to be honest with you, for what they are.
They've been fun to watch too. And they beat the Lakers twice. So you got to love them. And my point is they don't have the, personnel to be driving that much, but they do because they also don't have the personnel to hit threes. The Celtics have guys that can drive really, really well. Tatum last night looked aggressive. Schroeder's great when he's driving the ball. Richardson looks great when he's driving the ball. Jaylen Brown, we all know, is probably one of the best at the basket in the NBA, right? Yeah. Marcus Smart can drive and make plays. The Thunder are averaging 67 drives a game. The Celtics are 5th, and they're averaging 52. So there's a huge gap there. The gap between the Thunder and the Hornets, who are second, is almost 12 drives a game. If the Celtics even ramp that up to just like 60 drives, and that's a lot, but just eliminate some of these threes for a pump fake, driving to the hoop, and make plays, that will make such a huge difference in their offense. And they're doing that. They're doing that right now. But half the times you see the offense go stagnant and just try to pass around the perimeter and get an open look that way. And Scal says this on the broadcast all the time. That's not going to get you open looks. The difference between passing around the perimeter and hoping someone gets open versus driving to the lane, drawing a defender, and kicking it out is so visibly different. Just drive the ball. Stop shooting these threes when you don't drive first. And it's just going to create more open looks that so far they haven't been hitting, but at least you'll get some more opportunities in the paint, right?
Scout, by the way, says some very dumb things in the broadcast.
That's not one, though. That's not one of them, though.
Scout,
I like that take.
Is not someone that I've ripped on really, or noticed why people get mad at him until recently.
Yeah.
He says some really dumb things.
Like what?
If I hear him mention how much stronger Tatum's gotten one more time without Tatum showing you that he's gotten stronger, Tatum will do one thing a game that he's wow, look how strong he is. And then he'll go and miss 5 layups. Shut up, Scal. He hasn't been good.
Scal
he was good yesterday, and he deserves credit for being good. And he deserves credit for not letting his poor play offensively affect his whole game recently. But stop telling me how damn strong he is, because he's not. He doesn't play like he's any stronger.
No. Scal also absolutely loves 2 for 1.
Yeah, I always say that to you. I'm no one loves the 2 for 1 more than Scal. Yeah. Every quarter, they're going to go for a 2 for 1 here. You watch.
They wasted the 2 for 1.
Oh, they can get a 2 for 1 here. Who cares? Get a good shot.
It's so funny.
Stupid.
It entertains me at the very least. I want to talk about Tatum too, because obviously you got to give him props when he has a good game. Shot 12 for 22, 5 for 12 from 3.
Efficient game for Tatum. 12 threes is too many, but it is what it is.
5 of them.
It is too many. I don't care. It's still too many.
I mean, it was nice to see him start hitting them. I agree with you that it's a lot of threes, but hitting 5, I guess, is 41% or 42%. I guess you can round up. What
He
did
was
you see
fine.
different on the
I
drives?
just
Is what I was going to ask. Like
on the
how do you think
drives,
he was
I
more
wish he
effective?
would use two hands to drive more. I wish he would drop step in the post more, which he never does. I wish he would go into guys and use his body to create space instead of trying to reach around. That's the biggest problem. If you watch the difference between him and Jaylen Brown, who's, like you mentioned, one of the more efficient guys around the rim in the league, you can see the difference in how they go up. Tatum is just trying to go around guys. He put on all this muscle for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Brown goes through guys, embraces contact. Tatum tries to avoid it and be all fancy with it. And I think he stopped doing that a little bit last night. I think he embraced the contact a bit more, which is why he was playing better, right? He shot 7
I
attempts.
was fine with Tatum yesterday. He deserves, like,
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe a pat on the back, if you will, but he deserves credit for it. Like, guy hasn't been great. He's like still playing hard. Like, it happens. You get in a slump. The reason why he gets bitched about so much is because he's held to such a high standard. Everybody says he's like the second coming, which I don't know if I'm sold on that. I'm not sure how good Tatum actually is, but he's better than he's been playing. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I'm hoping Brown can come back and be playing at the level he was before he left, because he was kind of the savior in the Celtics offense. And with their newfound defense combined with his offense, I think this team could be a lot better than they are right now. And I think they should be in general, but I think Brown will definitely help them on the offensive side of things because he'll drive the ball more, right?
Yes. And I
But
also think he's better off the catch and shoot. That's one
yes.
guy that I have a lot of confidence in every time he shoots.
Yeah, he's shooting nearly 40% this season.
I also think
39.7.
Brown plays tomorrow. I don't see any way.
I hope
he's not
so.
playing.
I know LeBron's 50-50.
LeBron's going to play. I'm not like Joe. I'm not being cute. Like, put your
No, I think
house
so
on it. He's going to play.
I think so as well. But another thing I did want to talk about was, as much as they struggled on offense outside of Tatum and Grant Williams, shout out Grant, last night, I did think
And
there were
Richardson.
some issues on defense. And Richardson, yes.
Defense was not good
Richardson, the
last
only
night.
guy on the bench. The issue I saw with the defense was, I think they prioritized doubling Trae Young too much,
Yes.
which worked, but they were banking.
It
which
worked,
in
but it didn't
theory,
work.
this makes sense. You know what I'm saying? In theory, it makes sense. Okay, we double Trae Young, we clamp
They
him, make
went
sure he
for
doesn't
the
do anything,
stop the star,
and
let the
we
rest of the team beat us, and the rest of the team annihilated them, and they didn't adjust to it. Okay,
Exactly.
Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
First of all, this shouldn't even have been rocket science. The guy comes out and makes his first 5 shots. That's when you say, all right, we just got to play straight up. That's number one that you have to say. All right. Stop throwing double teams at Trae Young and leaving guys wide open from deep. Just stop doing it.
I agree with you. I agree. And they didn't, like you said, they didn't adjust, so they didn't close out fast enough, and their rotations were all messed up. They just needed to start playing the defense they have been playing for the past 8 games, because it was working.
That's
Especially
what I'm
after they
saying.
saw it wasn't working in the first. I agree.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. You just have had the best defensive rating in however many games or whatever, right? And that's all anyone's been talking about, which is well deserved. They've been playing good defense, so don't change it.
And why do you need to double team Trae Young when you have Marcus Smart is my question. That there's no reason.
Screens and I don't know. Maybe they just don't want him to get going. I don't know what the problem is. I don't get it.
I don't know. That was frustrating to watch me too, because Trae Young was breaking down the defense, right? And he's a great passer, give him credit. But the Celtics weren't adjusting, and whenever they double teamed him, he just found someone immediately. Collins on the roll, Herder in the corner. He was finding people left and right, and the Celtics just didn't adjust. And when they did adjust, he found a guy, and that guy found another guy who was open because they were trying to scramble from the double team. And Udoka, that's the one thing I think. I thought Udoka's been fine this season, especially recently. The one thing he needs to get better at is adjusting throughout the course of a game, because right now he just sticks to his philosophies too much, and it's killing him. It's absolutely killing him, from the switch everything to this most recent, double defense. It's tough to watch sometimes, but overall, I think I have no problem with Udoka overall this season, though. What about you?
It's too soon to tell.
Okay,
and I am 1,000% against blaming coaches when your team underachieves, because
especially like this, because 2 years in a row you can't blame two different coaches with the same group.
Same stuff is happening 2 years in a row. People that thought it was Brad's fault could not be more wrong.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. I just like watching people double down, like, oh, it's Udoka's fault now. Like, at some point, you just have to blame the players, right? Like, they're not immune. They're the ones actually playing the fucking basketball game. uh, it's enraging to watch. That's one of my least favorite takes, and I know you agree with me. But we can talk a little bit about this Lakers game. It'll be fun to watch just because it is Celtics Lakers.
It's
But,
in my opinion, must win.
I think it'd be a huge game. Lakers are 8-8 right now. They're 5-3 with. I was just wrote an article on this. I didn't look up the stats. I don't memorize it. They're 5-3 pre-LeBron injury, 4-2 when LeBron plays, and they are 3-5 since he hasn't been playing, and 4-6 when he doesn't play. So they're obviously a better team with LeBron.
Of course,
And
they are.
Westbrook has been shooting better lately, which is not fun for the Celtics. And I'm going to tell you this now, Sam, and you're not going to like it. Talon Horton-Tucker has been playing amazing, and I know he's a guy you'll be pissed if he plays well against the Celtics.
I will. I'll be pissed if pretty much anyone but LeBron and Davis plays well. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be happy. I don't think Westbrook's good. Don't think Carmelo Anthony's good. I know he's had a better season, but I still don't think he's good. Obviously, the rest of the team, they're just like a bunch of old guys.
I hope Austin Reeves doesn't play well. That'll hurt me. Actually, I think he's hurt, but I'm taking my props for that one. I said his name a lot when the draft.
I'll take my props for the Lakers not being the top team in the league. Like everyone and their mother was trying to tell me, oh, they got Westbrook now. They're going to be so good. Westbrook's not a good fit. I don't think he's that great of a player either, but he's certainly not a good fit.
You were right. I'll give you the fit part. And I have been giving you props on that. You were correct. But what do you want to see as a bounce back game from the Celtics against a team with as much as they're not playing well, with as much star power as the Lakers have?
Don't overreact to the star players like you did Trae Young. That's number one. Your defense has been fine. Make sure. I mean, you're probably going to need guys around Tatum, especially if Brown doesn't play. Guys around Tatum are going to have to play better. You're going to need, because Tatum's probably going to have to guard one of those two guys. He's going to be giving up a lot of energy on the defensive end. So his offense is probably going to suffer a little bit. So you need, I bet you we're going to see a huge game from Schroeder, actually.
I hope so. Actually, I didn't even think about that. That'd be very, very funny. I'd love to see that. I mean, if he stays mad, that'd be
should be mad.
Very, very fun.
They ran him out of town and blamed him for the team's failures.
He did play like garbage in the playoffs, but that was not his fault. That was not his fault at all. Yeah, I think if Brown plays, and I hope he does play, and I know you think he will play.
I don't think any of the marquee guys are going to miss this game tomorrow. I'm just telling you right now. I don't think LeBron's going to miss it. I don't think Brown's going to miss it. Robert Williams is going to play. It even if you have to sit Brown the next game, you play him tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I think Brown has a big game if he does come back, because he's Jaylen Brown. He doesn't have many off nights, and I just think after sitting for so long, and he has said he's starting to ramp things up, I believe. I think he torches the Lakers defense, because Lakers defense has not been that good this season.
No,
as a whole, which they've been known as a defensive team in the past, and I think, as funny as it sounds, losing guys like Alex Caruso and other players that they're missing from last season is hurting.
No, it does hurt,
they thought
especially when you see how, for example, Caruso is playing this year.
He's playing great. He's
making an impact. Mm-hmm. Harrell, best player in the league.
MVP candidate, Montrezl Harrell. No, but I don't know. I'm very excited for this game, because even though, like you said, it's a must-win for the Celtics, and I would lean on the side of agreeing with that. It'll be a good game regardless. Usually when the Celtics play Lakers, it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, well, traditionally, if anyone gets blown out, it's the Lakers.
Yeah, so remember the Enes Kanter game last year? Or 2 years ago? Remember the Enes Kanter game?
Yes. There was that game. There was the game at Staples last year.
Not Staples, Sam. Not Staples anymore.
No, it was Staples.
I know.
Still is Staples.
Not anymore after Christmas. What do you think of that? I think that's the dumbest shit I can.
I personally, I don't like the sponsorships on arenas. I don't like that they change. I like it if that's what it's always been. Okay, so for example, like the Heat changed the name of their arena this year. It's no longer American Airlines Arena or Center. Dallas is the Center, I believe. Miami is the arena.
Yeah, I don't know which is which.
Or was.
American Airlines.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're FTX Arena now.
Yeah, so I don't like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I think it's better if the place you play at has more meaning because of its name has a history. Like, okay, yes, Staples is a company and it was a sponsored name of the arena, but that was like
it's always been that.
Yes.
It's always been that.
It's always been Staples.
But now it will be crypto.com arena. Like that's just so no one's gonna call it that. No, absolutely no one's gonna fucking call it that. It's gonna be Staples Center forever. Why didn't they just call it like Crypto Center? It's so dumb.
I don't know. These things are just weird. I don't like. I mean, I'm pretty sure like most European arenas, or at least stadiums, are not sponsored. The big ones are Emirates for Arsenal is, Etihad for Manchester City is, but besides that, there are not many.
And you have like Old Trafford. What is Trafford?
Old Trafford is United. Anfield is Liverpool. Stamford Bridge, Chelsea. Like all of these places are. I mean, how much money do you freaking need? You put in sponsorships on the jerseys now. Make up your mind.
What if TD Garden just changes to like Vistaprint Arena? How pissed would you be?
That would be really bad. No, seriously, like it's not good.
I agree.
Garden should remain in the name.
I agree. What about the Vistaprint Garden? No, not the same.
No, I don't like
VP Garden.
I even think the Fleet Center was a bad name. Like it should have always been Garden.
The what center?
Fleet Center was the original name of it.
Oh, I forgot about that era.
The Bank North Garden. Now it's TD Garden.
I forgot about that era. Yeah, moving on. Obviously, Lakers game. Tatum, some comments after the last game. Always said, "Oh, I'm a Lakers fan when I grew up, and not anymore." You were mentioning before we started recording that you liked that.
I like that. That's not something you don't hear a lot of things like that out of Tatum.
Yeah,
you don't hear him talk about the Celtics often, or like being like fired up about something and really sounding like he's a competitor. At least in interviews, I'm not saying he's not a competitor. Obviously, he is with performances we've seen and things he's done. But that him saying that is a change that is a very good change. I was very surprised when I read that this morning when I woke up in the depths of the night when you hadn't gone to bed yet.
I was asleep by 4. Come on now. Yeah, Tatum's usually just very blah about everything. He's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is cool, that's cool, whatever. Like, yeah, I was a Lakers fan, like blah blah blah. Like he usually wouldn't add the not anymore part, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was a big Lakers fan as a kid, like it'll be fun to go up against them. Like that's usually the comment you'll get from Tatum.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's usually I think the best way to say it, and as weird as it is, he's just usually not very team oriented. He's just very like
he hasn't really carried Celtics with him off the court. I don't really know how to voice that. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of pride in the team he plays for, aside from saying that. I don't think he hates it being on the Celtics. I don't think
I think this is harsh to put it this way, but voicing it like he's just there to get his stats and amplify his brand it feels wrong because obviously he wants to win. But you know what I'm saying? That's just the vibe I get from Tatum, which sucks, but that's just how I feel about him so far in his career. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. He just seems indifferent sometimes about that kind of thing.
That's the perfect way to his whole personality. He's just always indifferent, which is very frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Tatum's just an enigma, man. This is why I like Jaylen Brown, because at least he's more outspoken about stuff in general.
Well, Jaylen Brown at least seems like he really likes being here. Marcus Smart has said that he likes being here. I don't know. I think indifferent is the perfect thing. I don't think Tatum dislikes it with the Celtics. I just think this is how it is for him. And it's not like me ripping him. I'm very happy he said what he said yesterday. I just think it's a change that is a good change. It's not something we had heard really from him before, from what I remember.
Do you think this is obviously like looking way far into the future, but I'm just thinking out loud here. Do you think Tatum stays in Boston after this current contract?
Think that there's a lot of variables that go into that. I don't think it's guaranteed.
a loaded question, but I feel like I don't know,
If
and I
things
don't
keep
want to
going the
play.
way they are, then no.
I don't want to play the would you rather have this guy or this guy game, but Tatum's attitude makes me think it.
The
all
answer
too
is
often.
Brown
Yeah, I agree with you.
right
Which
now.
sucks because I think
I don't
Brown,
know. Everyone thinks he's the second coming. I don't get it.
I think Brown has the potential to be a lot better than a lot of people think.
I do too, and I think he gets better every year.
Yes. Yes. He always adds something
Significantly
to his
better.
game. I think if Brown can become a better passer, then he could be better than Jason Tatum.
And I really
Right.
hate these talks.
I
don't
do
know.
too.
There's
I
a
don't
lot of
think it's-
variables that go into the Tatum thing. I mean, one, if they bring in Beal, it factors into it. And I don't even want them to go and get Beal because I think you're
I don't
bending
think
over
Beal's leaving
backwards.
Washington. But the way they're playing, I don't think Beal's leaving Washington. I think
They
they're
lost yesterday.
Did you bet on them?
Yes, I did.
Did the Clippers win? You bet on the Clippers too, didn't you?
I didn't. The only games I bet were Celtics and Washington. They both lost.
2 L's.
That's the first time I have been winless this season on the bets, by the way. However, for those of you that listened to the pregame, we would have won you money if you took our who will score first bet, because it was
Capella did score first.
Sure as shit, it was Capella.
My buddies were very mad at me though, because Celtics didn't cover +5 and Tatum scored over instead of under. So not ideal. But I mean, you just can't predict those things, I guess, because those two should be mutually exclusive, but it didn't fucking happen. Anyways, I don't like the talks either, Tatum versus Brown. I think it's foolish to think they can't work together with how talented they are. But Tatum's attitude and his slumps and the way he handles himself off the court just makes me think it sometimes, Like it's not great to think that way when your superstar is acting the way he does. And like you said, it's not even that he's like rude or not likable. He's just indifferent, which is frustrating as a fan when your team's struggling.
I just think guys have different personalities, and he's just not someone that's fiery. He's not a KG. He's not, which is fine. You don't have to be.
But it's not even like he's not KG. He's just not even like, he just seems like he doesn't give a shit. Like he just doesn't care.
I think he cares.
I think he does too, but he doesn't show it.
I don't know. You nailed it. He's an enigma. I don't really. I get very uncomfortable when I think about like him. I don't know. It's very bizarre to me.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily have any other big topics that I had planned, but the only other thing I can think of that we could talk about, which I don't think you'll like very much, so if you got something, hit me up. I've compiled some proposed trades around the league on the internet and stuff that I've dug up, and I'd love to.
Do they involve the Celtics?
Yeah, they're all Celtics trades.
We can do this because I do think changes need to be made solely because of how horrible the offense has been. And because of how good the defense has been, I think this team can really turn the corner if they can figure out how to put the ball in the basket.
And some are far more realistic than others, but I'd like for you to, react to them regardless. But yeah, I mean, I just like to get your thoughts on these. Like I said, some realistic, some not. Shit on them if you want, but I just think it'll be fun to go through some of these. Shout out Hardwood Houdini. I used to write for them. So I'd like to get your thoughts on this one to start. This one is a 3-team deal involving the Philadelphia 76ers and the Sacramento Kings. So the proposed trade, would you like to guess who the Celtics are getting before I go?
Ben Simmons.
No.
Is Ben Simmons in the trade?
He is.
So he goes to Sacramento.
Yes.
So they must be getting like Buddy Hield or something like that with the money being thrown around.
Yes, close. Celtics get Harrison Barnes in the trade.
Okay, all right.
76ers get De'Aaron Fox and Grant Williams, which we can give our thoughts on it. Let me just finish the trade. Kings get Ben Simmons, Aaron Nesmith, Josh Richardson, and a 2023 first from the Celtics protected top 10. So all in all, the Celtics would be giving up Nesmith, Richardson, and Grant Williams and a 2023 top 10 protected first for Harrison Barnes.
Well, I think Richardson and Williams are two guys that are playing well for you right now. So I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know.
At the same time, though, you can't just give up players who are playing like shit for players that are playing good. So I understand that you
I agree.
some value, but
But I think both those guys are key to your success too. Like they fit your system really well.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you. But
I mean,
Harrison Barnes.
I think Barnes is a fine player. I think he's playing well. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't know if they're gonna trade. I think it's something small, and I think they give up one of, if not both, Pritchard and Neesmith, because those guys don't have a role on this team consistently right now. Mm-hmm. And I think here's the problem: is that okay? Schroeder's on a 1-year contract, so you really have to be careful if you're going to trade Pritchard away. Mm-hmm. Despite his struggles, I think both those guys look fantastic coming into the season. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, no, I got you. Next trade I see here, again from Hardwood Houdini. Shout out those guys. I don't necessarily agree with. I think the Celtics would have to probably throw in a pick or two here, but I think it's a solid trade. Juancho Hernan-Gomez and Josh Richardson for Thad Young and Bryn Forbes in San Antonio. They're a smaller scale trade, obviously, but
you said Richardson for both those guys
and Juancho, and I think you'd probably have to throw in a pick too, honestly, but for
Thad Young and Bryn Forbes.
Yeah.
Well, I think Young helps you. I don't think Forbes is like a bomb or anything. I'm just trying to think of where his minutes are going to come.
I think he gets minutes over. I mean, he'd replace the Richardson minutes, honestly. And then you have Thad Young to play some center minutes so Enes Kanter doesn't play because that was awful.
Well, they have to play Kanter or they're anti whatever the hell he's standing for.
I don't think
even though he was very outspoken today. Well done, Kanter.
I love what he stands for. He's just
he just doesn't want like the kids like in the sweatshops is what I understand, right?
Which is a valid cause. Yes. That's fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's just
there's not much to disagree with there. I think if you're working, you should get paid for it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just he's not good enough to play, I don't think. Which is just it's just how it is. But yeah, what do you think of that? Forbes, I don't know how well Forbes is shooting this season, but I can look. But I think he'd be probably one of the better shooters on the Celtics in general. He's shooting 42.9% from three.
It would help. So yeah, it would help for sure. I mean, I might do that. I don't know. I like Richardson a lot. He's my favorite guy on the bench right now, without Schroeder being on the bench. I'm just interested to see what they're going to do when Brown comes back. I think Schroeder should stay. I think they should just drop a big. I don't know. It's very tough to decide.
Yeah, it's tough. This next article is titled 3 Trades That Could Save the Celtics Season. It's from 2 weeks ago. So, put it in a little perspective. This was when they were struggling a lot. But first one, a 2023 first, top 10 protected, and a 2022 second for Terrence Ross. Pretty simple one. I brought up the
just picks?
Just picks.
Yeah, hammer it. I mean, you don't need picks at this point. Unless if you think your season's going to turn around from this, you don't need the picks. You don't.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no reason to have any more draft picks at this point. You've got all these guys that are very young. And you don't have room to play guys you're going to draft. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Next one I got is the classic Ben Simmons, Sam. Marcus Smart, Josh Richardson, Juancho, Aaron Neesmith, 3 first-round picks.
If Brown and Tatum are involved, you do it.
You think so? You think you should pull the trigger?
You easily do it. You do it.
Do you like Simmons?
No, I think Simmons is a whiny prick. And who isn't good enough to act the way he's been acting. But at the same time, I think he's a better fit on the Celtics than he is Philly. However, if the Celtics can't shoot for shit, then bringing in a guy that won't shoot a 3 doesn't help you. Maybe it does, because I bitched earlier that they shoot too many 3s.
At the same time, it can't hurt you much more than you're playing right now, right? Like they're already
shooting. If you're not trading Tatum and Brown, then you do it.
Yeah.
You do it. It's as simple as that. You do it. And Horford, if you keep him too, you certainly do it.
Well, I don't think they
want him either. Horford. But
yeah, no, I agree with you.
And Rob Williams was not in that deal either.
Last one I got for you is the same player involved in a previous trade. Harrison Barnes coming to the Celtics again. This time, Richardson, Hernan-Gomez, Neesmith, and a 2023 first, lottery protected. I think that's an easy pull the trigger and you do it. But what do you think?
Barnes is only on a 1 year, right?
I think he has 2 years left. No, he just signed an extension actually, low key. So Kings payroll.
Okay, if he did sign an extension, then yeah, you
fact check. It's this year and next year. He's on the books for 20 million this year and 18 million next year. So let's go down. I think that trade would actually help a lot because
I just don't think the other teams do those trades in either situation.
I don't think the Kings would hate it because I think they'd.
I think if the Kings did that trade, Neesmith would start playing well because he'd be getting a lot of run and have less pressure on him, and then people would freak out.
That's also true.
People freak out about Desmond Bane. If Desmond Bane was drafted by the Celtics, there's no guarantee he plays the way he plays.
Yeah,
he's not going to be given the opportunity he was given in Memphis. It's just as simple as that. These are all subjective things, people. It doesn't matter who is on the team. It depends on what opportunities they're given. Certain guys, no matter what you do with them, they're going to be great. But there are other guys that need that opportunity to build confidence, get in the rhythm, prove themselves to themselves and their teammates. Like Neesmith and Romeo Langford, for that matter, have not really gotten that opportunity. Romeo's just now starting to get that kind of consistent role in the team. And for the most part, everyone's pretty satisfied with him.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just like I was saying earlier. You're not making shots. You can't get minutes. You're not getting minutes. You can't. It's tough. It's tough. But last three I have for you aren't exactly. Actually, I think I do have one actual trade for you. Looking ahead here, I don't think you'll like this, but I'll tell you anyways. Marcus Smart, Aaron Neesmith, 2022 first, 2025 first for DeJounte Murray, Keita Bates-Diop. So,
can you repeat that?
Yeah, Marcus Neesmith, 2022 first, 2025 first for DeJounte Murray and Keita Bates-Diop.
You do that.
You think you do that? Really?
Smart and Neesmith? That's it?
And two first, but I know you care about
first. They don't matter. At this point, they don't matter. They matter to you if you're OKC and you have minutes to give these picks.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm surprised you do that still because I didn't think.
I love Marcus Smart, but I don't know. I think Murray's a good get.
And he's young. I think that's huge. And he's shooting actually better than I thought from three this season. Shooting around 33%, which still isn't great, but he has room for improvement. All right, maybe I do that trade. The last
How many drives is the average per game?
That's not a great question. Say I'm the stats guy now, huh?
Well, no, but I like the drives. That's all I really care about. I care about drives and shooting percent. I don't care about the other stuff.
But take a look. He is top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in drives, 16.1 a game.
There you go.
0.2 more than Schroeder.
You do that. Yes.
There you go. The last three I have are not trades. They're trade targets. So, I mean, it's debatable how much you want to give up. I'm just going to list them all here. Davis Bertans. You can just give me a yes or no if you'd like.
Probably not. I don't think he's very good. And he makes a lot more money than he should be making.
Fair enough. Kyle Anderson, Memphis.
No.
Really?
What's his 3-point percentage, Jack? Is it good? Am I going to look like an ass here? I don't think he's a very good 3-point shooter.
I think he's improved a lot this season. 42.9%.
Oh, there you go. Sam makes an ass out of himself. I don't know. I'm not paying a lot for him if I trade for him.
Makes like 9 mil.
No, I mean sending a package.
Oh, I think it'd probably end up being like Neesmith and a first if you do anything.
I don't know.
Last one, I think you'll like Joe Ingles, Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, what are you giving up? But I think yes, you do that. I think Ingles rules, and I don't think Utah's going to give him up.
The issue with that, Utah has no money and they have to pay him after the season. Yeah, that's all we have for you today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the From the Raptors podcast. Make sure to check out Sam on Twitter at Sam LaFrance NBA, me on Twitter at Jackson NBA, us on Twitter at Bannertown USA. Check out the pregame shows at Guy Boston Sports on YouTube and Facebook. You can leave a like on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on the Airr app where they're live during games, giving our takes, stuff like that. BannertownUSA.com.
When we feel like it.
Yeah, we've been getting a little busy.
It's tough. I don't like being bothered during the games.
BannerTownUSA.com as well for, previews, takeaways, and other articles as well. And yeah, per usual, Sam, go ahead and wrap us up.
Yes, Jack dropped the handles, so I'm not going to repeat it. Follow us. That's our show today.
Taco. Come on. Taco.